If he's got his discipline together, he can do it. But out on the stump, when he's in the sound bites on TV, it's just mean and negative and just doesn't work.
Yeah, he comes across as authoritative a lot, but one of the things that Roland and I were discussing, this is on some break about 3 hours ago, is that he has no surrogates. Newt Gingrich does not have any surrogates, I think, except say for one, that can go out and do the attacks for him. Whereas you look at Mitt Romney, and he has a whole army of people. Ron Paul has all the Ron Paulers. Right. I mean, everyone has their own little faction. Newt doesn't have that.
Yeah. And so on another point, I just listened to Alex and Eric and all the hand-wringing. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're almost at the top of the hour of 2 a.m., an hour none of us really expected to be here at. Wolf Blitzer is standing by. Let's take a look at the vote count as it stands right now.
All right, Anderson, stand by for a second because we got news. That's going to announce that one final precinct. We're going to speak to that precinct captain shortly. We're going to try to find out what's going on. Has there been a snag, a snafu, a hanging chad? We don't know what's going on, but one precinct could make the difference between who is number one, who is number two, and how much of a gap there is. Let's go over and talk to all of our contributors and friends. Anderson, I think we're going to get that precinct captain pretty soon on the phone, and we'll hear what the problem is, if there's a problem, because we want to know who's the winner.
I was going to say, what do you want to say to that precinct captain?
I want to say, tell us what you know.
Do you want to occupy him on the phone? Shouldn't he be finishing up the votes?
One precinct. That's all that stands.
Aren't these paper ballots?
Between you
Do we have a sense, John, of how many votes we're talking about here, or maybe still be up for grabs?
No, we don't, because we don't know which precinct it is. We don't know what the size of the precinct is, and so we're waiting for these final votes. On the one hand, it's important we get them because somebody will win and claim the moral victory. On the other hand, let's be honest. We're looking at Rick Santorum 4 votes ahead right now. Whether Romney passes him and beats him by 10 or 12 votes or 1 or 2 votes, or Santorum pads that and beats him by 12 or 15 votes. Iowa has a dead heat today.
You keep saying it's a draw. Psychologically, someone's going to be declared a winner. Yes. If it's Rick Santorum, I think what David said earlier is right. If it's Romney, well, so what? If it's Rick Santorum that wins and beats Mitt Romney, that's a big story, isn't it?
It's a much more dramatic story for Rick Santorum to say, I'm paraphrasing here, I spent $12, you spent $10 million. Nice to see you. I win.
Yeah. And he can, but you know what? He can still say it. Honestly, if it's 4 votes, I think we can all agree he can still say it.
I think Rick Santorum already has a moral victory. The only question is who's got the actual victory.
Well, the question is who can sustain, who can rebuild. Romney does have a fallback. He has the state of New Hampshire, where he owns a vacation home. He was the former Massachusetts governor, but he also has history. He was very strong in New Hampshire 4 years ago. The Huckabee win in Iowa caused a Romney collapse in New Hampshire. This is a tie, a moral victory for Rick Santorum. What is the impact? Our early poll tonight showed little impact for Romney. If that holds out, and remember, 1 week. 1 week. Not a lot of time for other people to recover in a state where Romney has the infrastructure, has resources. There's no question about his resources. If he defends New Hampshire and wins New Hampshire, then we move on.
But there are those who said that Romney has basically evaded scrutiny up until this point. Now, moving forward in New Hampshire, you have John Huntsman, who's been dedicated to New Hampshire, who's going to be focusing squarely on Romney. You have certainly a re-energized Gingrich who's going to be focusing on Romney. I assume Santorum is as well. It changes the dynamic.
It will change the dynamic because you're going to have, here, this is the morning ad in the Manchester, the union leader of New Hampshire, they call it now, Newt Gingrich in color, Mitt Romney in black and white. That's what you're doing. You're attacking your opponent. You're in nice color. He's in black and white. A contrast. Newt Gingrich is going to try to peel the skin off Mitt Romney. Santorum is going to not do it in such, you heard him on our air tonight, not going to do it in such an aggressive way, but to say, I'm conservative here. He's not. I want a tough state. He hasn't. I would just add this, though. These attacks will get tougher in the next few days. There's a debate this weekend, 2 debates this weekend. However, the one place where everybody has heard this time and time again is in New Hampshire. None of this will be new to them. The question is, does it have an impact now with 1 week to go?
And people think that Newt Gingrich really got hurt in Iowa just because of the pro-Romney super PACs. It wasn't just that. It was the Ron Paul advertising.
Oh, exactly.
When I was in Iowa last week, I heard a lot of Ron Paul campaign commercials really going after Newt Gingrich.
Serial hypocrisy.
Yeah, serial hypocrisy.
But here's the interesting thing about Newt. I've covered him for a long time. He's the most effective attack politician I have ever covered. That's how he became Speaker of the House.
Although Ari was saying attacking him is like with a porcupine, and it lacks direction.
But he has succeeded in the past. His problem is that he has a different brand now. That he's tried to rebrand himself, and he's tried to become
but doesn't he
a
now
different
know,
politician.
Doesn't he now know that hasn't worked? I mean, isn't the reality Mr. Nice Guy New isn't working? That's why we're seeing this, and that's why I think these debates...
But it's hard to go from saying, oh, you want to be Mr. Nice Guy and aren't these ads terrible, to running these ads.
Well, it is, but don't you think in these debates where Gingrich has been very effective, I think the gloves will come off big time. I think in these debates it's going to get nasty, and it's going to skew...
And Ron Paul, I was going to say this, Ron Paul is going to go after Santorum now as well. So, you know, he's avoided that pretty much because Santorum was out of the picture.
Well, in this conversation, you know, a few days ago, everyone was saying amongst the punditry that as long as Mitt Romney came in second or third, it was fine. And now all of a sudden here we are, and it's almost a virtual tie, and he's a failure for not having some sort of a massive win. So just the whole sort of rhetoric around the conversation has really changed because he's coming in so much closer.
I don't think it's not so much he's a failure. It's just that he seems to have this ceiling that he can't punch through.
Right, but it's being more focused on now because he's so close to winning, whereas a few days ago...
Santorum came from nowhere.
And everyone was saying Santorum could come from nowhere. It's his moment. Look what happened to Huckabee. Don't read too much into that. But yet, here we are.
It's partly because his forces, and he personally misplayed the expectations game. They set expectations way high that he was going to stay out there tonight because he was going to win. That was the sense. And for him now to come in with basically a tie hurts him. But the other part of this is this contest actually plays out state by state, but it's playing out on national television. And there is a quality, if you contrast this with how Obama ran the campaign 4 years ago, he gained national strength as he won a state because it looked like, wow, he really pulled that off. 4 years ago, coming out of Iowa, remember that speech? It was a barn run. It was a
David, tell me this. Could Santorum raise big money in a short period of time now? Could people watch that speech, as we all did, and feel moved enough to think he has a chance and actually back him?
I think people need to see what he's going to do in New Hampshire.
And South Carolina, too.
And South Carolina,
I think he's definitely going to get more money. He's not going to get the money that it takes to go all the way. He needs to win somewhere. South Carolina becomes really important.
And big donors, they will say, okay, economically I can see this positive or that, but then it always comes with the caveat of, but he is way too conservative or way too extreme. So, I mean, not that they wouldn't, but you know, at least from what I'm hearing from big donors, there's a real hesitation.
But the storyline coming out of tonight is more. Go back to what Carville's been saying. It's more about weakness, division, fractured party, unable to find a candidate, not very enthusiastic, not a very high turnout. That's the kind of thing that can hurt someone like Mitt Romney and a head-on-head against Barack Obama. The national polls are going to show, I think, some weakening of his position, and that's going to play back into the states.
It just looks like a party that's holding its nose and saying, all right.
We haven't got any better option.
We're just going to have to
I mean, Barack Obama tonight is going to be feeling good, isn't he?
I think because he's a guy who should be in trouble. If you look at the numbers and look at his performance and look at his, look at his 45% approval rating has been for months.
Let's bring some of our Republicans here. I mean, Ari, are you depressed tonight?
No, I think this is nonsense. I think people are way overplaying the impact of one meaningless caucus night where no delegates are even selected. You know, I think when a multi-candidate field, this many candidates, math says it's hard to get above 25–30%. John McCain won South Carolina 4 years ago with just 33%. So it doesn't really matter what your percentage is. There's a long trend here you have to look at. It's going to take place for the next several weeks, maybe a month or two, and then you have a nominee. That's what it's all about.
Dana Lash, you're a Tea Party activist. You're confused tonight?
Well, no, I'm disappointed, yes and no, simply because, for the same reasons that have been stated. I mean, no one's walking away winner take all tonight. But at the same time, you kind of look at the field, and there were Tea Party activists that were caucusing tonight. That there were, and strong conservatives. And here you still have someone who's the antithesis of all that they stood for. Right, number one. So, I mean, that's just, I don't know.
Does it feel like a very divided Republican Party, though, to you tonight?
It feels completely. Right. There's a huge faction, and I think the Republican Party wants to underestimate the power of this faction. They don't want Romney.
Let me go to Wolf. Wolf, do we have some numbers here?
We don't have some numbers, but let me go talk to, we got two women calling in from, we've actually called them from Clinton County. from the Republican Party in Clinton County. That's not far from Davenport, not far from Dubuque, in the eastern part of Iowa. I happened to have been there last week. Edith Pfeffer is joining us. Edith, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, now, Carolyn is with you too?
Yes.
All right, Carolyn, tell us your last name.
Hallett.
Okay, good. Now, Carolyn, what's your job?
What's my job?
Yes.
I am president of Clinton County Republican Women.
Okay.
I am also the chair of 3-1 Precinct, and I have been on the Central Committee for many years.
All right. Now, is it your precinct that still has not reported the official results?
No, it is not mine. I received a call at about 12:20 from the State Central Committee asking if I knew how to get a hold of someone from 2-2. At that time, they gave me a name, and I tried calling because it's late here. They were in bed, and the chair was also in bed. And
so what you're saying
is the information. So I came to Edith's home and pounded on the door and woke her up and got her up.
All right, Edith, so tell us about this precinct. Is it in Clinton County that is still not reporting the results?
No, the results from, it's Clinton, 2nd Ward, 2nd Precinct, and the results were called in at 7:48 p.m. this evening.
So what you're saying is that all the precincts in Clinton County have in fact reported? Is that what you're saying, Edith?
Yes, I am.
And is that your information as well, Carolyn?
That's what I understand, but I also understand that possibly the state party did not have the information from Clinton.
So it looks like there's a snafu. Hold on for a second, ladies, if you don't mind. John King, first of all, John, show us where Clinton County is in Iowa, because there seems to be a problem that the statewide Republican Party says they didn't get some results from Clinton County, although these two women who seem to be in charge of the Republican precincts in Clinton County, they say they did call in.
They say they did. Now, let's show you. You mentioned Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Clinton County, right here in the middle in eastern Iowa, in the southern part, 1.7% of the statewide population. Let me ask you, Edith, Madam Chairwoman, we have 97% that the state has reported through us. We had Romney winning, Santorum in second place. Let me ask you this. If somehow there's a miscommunication and the state party hasn't added this precinct in yet, did Rick Santorum carry any of the precincts? And do you know who carried this one precinct that the State Central Committee says it doesn't have? Ward 2, Precinct 2. Who won?
Mitt Romney won with 51 votes. Rick Santorum and Ron Paul tied with 33 votes each.
So that's 51 to 33. If this is the missing precinct, Wolf, added up there, Mitt Romney wins by 20-something votes, I believe, if my math is roughly right. But we don't know that. We don't know that the state didn't count it by accident. But you are certain that all of your data was relayed to the State Central Committee. What is their explanation when you call them back and say, it's not our problem?
Well, they called, Ryan Gooch called here, and he called Carolyn. We called him back, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ago, just before you people called. And we gave him the figures, and they should have the figures now.
Well, this is an interesting little...
What you're saying...
I'm sure they'll be reporting it very shortly.
What you're saying, Carolyn and Edith, is that 97% reporting in Clinton County that we have on the board, which is the official number coming in, that should change fairly soon to 100%. And if the numbers that they are telling us, John, are accurate, that would put Mitt Romney over the top, and he would win. And we'll see. But let me just double check with Carolyn and Edith. Do you have all the numbers from how many precincts are there in Clinton County?
There are 30 precincts.
And have all 30, as far as you know, reported?
Oh, yes.
Every single one?
Every single one.
And what's the total for Clinton County, Romney, Santorum, Paul?
Oh. Are they correct? I haven't done, I added them up. I added them up a couple times. Oh, man. I showed Romney coming up with a total of 437 votes from Clinton County. Santorum had 354. Perry had 73. Paul had 292. Huntsman 12. Gingrich 151, Michelle Bachmann 62, and there were 5 votes for Herman Cain.
Well, that would be the difference, Wolf. That would be the difference, because the numbers we've received from the state had Romney at 386, Santorum at 321, Ron Paul at 262. If we go through the top 3, she just said Romney gets 437, Santorum 354, Ron Paul 292. That right there would be enough. If this is the missing precinct, that would be enough right there to make Mitt Romney narrowly.
If that's the 3% that's still missing in there.
If this is what's missing, and we need the state central committee to clear this up, but the numbers we're receiving from the state do not match the numbers we just received from the county chairwoman right here in Clinton County. If these are the final numbers,
the numbers don't match.
Well, I'll explain it. I'll explain it to you. John, you go ahead and explain it.
The numbers, Madam Chairwoman, I'm not questioning your numbers. I'm saying the numbers you're giving us now do not match the numbers that the state central committee has reported so far from your county, and they say one precinct is missing. So if your numbers are that missing precinct, and these are the final numbers from Clinton County, excuse my scribble, but 437, not 386, 354, not 321, we can stop right there, Wolf. That would make
Romney the winner.
Romney the winner narrowly in the state of Iowa. We think we've solved the problem, but we're not the official voice here. Matt Strawn, the state Republican chairman, would be the one who has to make this decision in the end, and I'm sure the chairman's having a delightful evening.
Carolyn or Edith, you want to add anything to this conversation?
To hear what the final result was when they called me.
Carolyn or Edith, anything else you want to tell our viewers?
No, I just know that those figures were originally called in at 7:48 by the person in charge from that precinct, and the precinct chair and secretary handed me the, they sat down and completed all their forms, and then they brought me up the forms, and I came home.
All right.
So,
so we, just to be precise, we didn't wake you up. The state chairs in Des Moines, they called you. They woke you up. Is that right?
No, I woke her up. This is Carolyn.
Carolyn woke her up to get the numbers because the state was
waiting for the results.
All right.
When I was called by the party. And so I came to wake up Edith, who didn't answer her phone.
You ladies don't have any fresh coffee brewed, do you?
No, but I think I'm ready for it.
You know what? I think we may have solved this mystery. And if we did, Romney would win the entire state. Not by much, a little bit, but it would win. Let me bring in, ladies, if you can hold on with us for a moment. Stand by. Candy Crowley is standing by over at Mitt Romney headquarters. Candy, what are you learning?
Well, what we are learning is that there are folks inside the Romney campaign who have been told that he, in fact, won by 14 votes. I'm trying to pin down who they were told that by. I don't know if you were here, but we were suddenly inundated with lots of young staffers who had also heard that. So the number they heard was 14 votes. Those higher up in the Romney campaign have also heard it, and they say that we should expect to hear from the state fairly soon. Although it is 2 o'clock, so I don't think anything is fairly soon, but you know what I mean.
If the two ladies that we were speaking to, Kenny, in Clinton County, if their math is correct, that would make sense because the numbers that they say they gave to Des Moines, to the Republican leadership, there would have given Romney a very, very narrow win in the state. But we'll wait for the official numbers. But
they say here it's 14 votes.
All right, but what you're saying is Romney's aides there are saying are they saying they've been notified that Romney has won? Is that what they're saying?
They've been told, so I think notified's the wrong word because it's hard for me to track down at this point. We're trying to track down like where it started, who they heard from.
All right, Candy, if you get more, let us know. Let me go back to John, because I think the information from Romney's aides there, speaking to Candy, would sort of be in line with what our friends in Clinton County are telling us.
It would be in line with the general narrative. My math's not perfect, but this adds up to, in my looking at it, to more than 14 votes. So that probably means there were some adjustments somewhere else if you came into it with Santorum slightly ahead. But this should be the missing link here. If we were one precinct down, they had this is what the state was reporting to us and is still officially reporting to us. Romney 386. The Clinton County chairwoman just told us 437. Rick Santorum 321 up to 354. So there you see enough of a gap right there for Mitt Romney to make up what we were told was a slight Santorum lead. If you add this in, that gives you a slight Romney lead. I don't think it's exactly 14, no. But if they're adjusting the numbers, we're going to wait for the official announcement from the state. But that's pretty enterprising there, Wolf, you know, getting the chairwoman there in her county. Good phone call to make.
Yeah, Mark Preston, our political director, did that for us. He's a good guy. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll assess what's going on. Hopefully, we'll get official word fairly soon on the winner in Iowa. And our coverage will continue in a moment.
CNN's coverage of the Iowa caucuses is sponsored by Cadillac and by Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities. Go to CNNpolitics.com to get the most up-to-date news and facts from the best political team on television.
Why did we build a 556 horsepower luxury car with a manual transmission? Because there are those who still believe in the power of a firm handshake. The Cadillac CTS-V. Manual or automatic, that's entirely up to you. We don't just make luxury cars, we make Cadillacs.
A line is a powerful thing. It connects the global economy to your living room. Cleaner air to stronger markets. Factory floors to less crowded roads. Today's progress to tomorrow's promise. Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities.
My bad.
Tell me you have good insurance.
Yep, I've got
Allstate.
Really? I was afraid you'd have some cut rate policy. Nope, I've got
the Allstate Value Plan. It's their most affordable car insurance, and you still get an Allstate agent.
I too have
Allstate.
Same agent and everything.
It's like we're connected.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not.
The Allstate Value Plan. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate.
Welcome to Idaho, where they grow America's favorite potatoes.
Everyone knows Idaho potatoes taste great, but did you know they're good for you too? They're high in vitamins and potassium. And Idaho potatoes are now certified to carry the heart check mark from the American Heart Association for foods low in saturated fat and cholesterol.
So they're good for my family and for yours. Heart Smart Idaho potatoes. Always look for the Grown in Idaho seal.
Atlantis. Now enjoy your fourth night free. Plus, receive up to a $400 airfare credit. Discover Atlantis and discover what's lost. Hurry, this offer ends soon.
All eyes on New Hampshire. Join Wolf, Aaron, Anderson, Candy, and John for live coverage of the New Hampshire primary. CNN, next Tuesday night, 7 Eastern.
We just had an amazing moment here at the CNN Election Center. We're trying to figure out that one precinct that still has not officially apparently reported to the Republican Party leadership in Des Moines. Right now, 99% of the precincts have reported. One precinct apparently has not. There's a 4-vote spread. Rick Santorum atop by 4 votes, 29,968 to Mitt Romney's 29,964. But we were told that missing precinct is in Clinton County in the eastern part of Iowa. And you just heard us speak to the 2 women who were in charge of that county over there. And John, they said they reported the numbers, which are different, very different than the numbers that are still the official numbers for Clinton County in Iowa. We have 97%. The official numbers, Romney with 386 to Santorum's 321. but they say the numbers are different.
And watch this. Now, if any of the nuns who taught me at St. Mark's are still with us, they never liked my scribble, but I was pretty good at arithmetic. Watch this. We took the numbers the ladies gave us. The state told us this for Clinton County. The chairwoman just told us no. Mitt Romney didn't get 386. He got 437. Rick Santorum didn't get 321. He got 354. A new number for Ron Paul as well. But we took the Romney number and the Santorum number, and we added it up with what we already knew. Ready? Let's do a little math. We'll use a little blue here. 30015, that's Romney. 30001, that's Santorum. What did Candy Crowley just tell us she was told? That Mitt Romney won by 14 votes. Look at that. How about that?
So those ladies were correct. They knew what they were talking about.
That was our lifeline.
Yeah.
That was a good lifeline to use right there. They seem to have solved the mystery. We're waiting. We're waiting for the official word from the Iowa Republican Party, which is probably consulting Palm Beach County for a little advice on how to get through right here. But this adds up. This adds up. This is my scribble, and this is CNN math, but it matches what Candy Crowley is saying. The Romney campaign says it is getting word, we presume, from the state Republican Party. We're waiting the final word. There was one precinct, as you noted, Ward 2, Precinct 2, in Clinton County, Iowa. Here it is right here in the eastern part of the state. Their new numbers, when added up to the official numbers the state had given us previously, gets you a 14-vote margin for Governor Mitt Romney of Massachusetts.
You saw Candy said that aides to Mitt Romney, she's over there at the headquarters, aides. All right, we're just getting, John, a 2-minute warning from the spokesperson for the Republican Party in Iowa. Let's go over to the table and bring in the whole team over here. Let's discuss. We're going to get the official announcement, but it looks like the math that we got from Edith and Carolyn. Our ladies in Clinton County. Anderson, who would have thought?
That was the best live phone call ever.
That was it. Edith Pfeffer and Carolyn, you know, they knew what they were talking about.
They could run in New Hampshire tonight. I mean, they get into the race.
He just picked the phone up eventually.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, they gave us the correct numbers. John did the math. Candy had heard from Romney aides that they were told that Romney wins the state by 14 votes. We checked the math. Anderson, 14 votes.
I loved it when they thought you were saying their numbers were wrong. They were like, what do you mean our numbers are wrong?
What are you saying about that?
You know, it was a fascinating moment in television.
You didn't wake him, Wolf.
Brilliant.
I know you're so
Well, it's funny because one of them was saying that they were staying up watching CNN waiting for the results. And it was like, little did they know, they held the key. Incredible.
Apparently they had to be persuaded. They were not anxious to go on the air.
Oh, I'm sure.
And the folks here at CNN talked to them.
Yeah, Mark Preston, our political director, got him on the phone, and they said, you know, I'm always nervous about getting people on the phone to talk to us on the air because it could be some cracked phone call or whatever. But, you know, Mark was the one who reached out to these ladies, and the ladies took the call and you put them on the air.
They didn't sound like Howard Stern listeners.
No.
This is a Republican night. You know, any good conservative would tell you, don't trust the central authority, go to the locals. And there you go. We went to the locals and we got our numbers.
Velshi here. Edith is trending now #1 on Twitter. I'm not making this up. This is true. Really? Edith is trending.
Have we solved the mystery of what happened between the phone call and the reporting?
Obviously, we're going to find out because we're going to hear from the spokesperson for the Republican Party in Iowa who's going to make the official announcement. And once they do, the mystery will be resolved. Although
Have you ever seen anything like this, Sean?
No. No, I would prefer to either be sleeping or at last call at the moment right now. But 2:30 a.m. in the east, 1:30 a.m. in Iowa, so they're an hour ahead of us. They're rested, tan-rested and ready out in Des Moines. This is remarkable, but it is. Let's not beat up on the state Republican Party. There are confusions. This is the closest contest in their state's history in a Republican caucus.
And John, how many times has anybody won in Iowa and won in New Hampshire and not become the nominee?
Well, you'd have to go back to George W. Bush, but he was, George. No, not even. Only in the re-election. Only in the re-election campaign. We have not had in the modern era. We have not had in the modern era, especially in the Republican side, somebody win Iowa and then New Hampshire.
So it's significant, isn't it? If Romney has edged it, he claims victory.